Hi, I'm Dave Poland, and I'd like to welcome you to Portland Film Beat. Tonight, my guest, okay, let me start again. Tonight, my guest is Michael Medaglia. How you doing, Michael?
Good.
Welcome
good.
aboard.
I'm really glad to be here, David. Thank you.
We're here to talk about Michael's film, Deep Dark, as you can see right up there on the wall.
It's right above my head.
Yeah, Michael, how long have you been in Portland?
About 3 years now.
Really?
My wife and I moved up here, and we've been loving it ever since.
Where'd you move from?
Originally from Los Angeles, and my wife wanted to get out of Portland, and so came up here, and you know, it's been fantastic ever since.
Right. Have you had any professional training as a filmmaker?
Yeah. Well, I went to film school in LA, and
What school is that?
it's the Art Center College of Design. It's in Pasadena.
I've been there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I've been there.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
And but you know, learned some chops there. Made some short films, some music videos, things like that. And you know, making films in LA is great, but I find like that making films in Portland's even better.
It is. They make a lot of films here. There's a lot of really great talent here.
Yeah.
Is Deep Dark your first feature then?
Yeah, it's my first feature film. I made, you know, many shorts, but this is the first foray, and I was really excited doing it. It's
Okay, great.
there's, you know, it's similar to short filmmaking,
Right.
but it's just much longer. You know,
Right.
it's.
All right.
I kept telling myself it's a marathon, not a sprint.
What's the premise of Deep Dark?
Yeah, it's about an awful artist. He has no idea how bad he is at making art, and he's about to end it all. He's like at the end of his rope when he meets a hole in the wall that talks to him, that helps him make amazing art.
Right. We'll see that in the trailer, some of it.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and of course, the hole helps him make great art, but of course there's strings attached. So
Right. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So what are a few things you learned while you were making this film?
I learned a lot of things, but this was one of my first projects in Portland, so I learned a lot about, you know, crews in Portland and making films in Portland, and you know, was really pleasantly surprised with how talented everyone is.
Yeah. There's a lot of talent.
It's a much smaller community, which is nice, a smaller film community. But I learned some other things too. I learned that the mall security in Portland can be surprisingly understanding. I learned all kinds of things like that.
Okay. We're talking about crews, so let's before I move on, let's just talk about that. Who was the cinematographer?
The cinematographer, his name is Francisco Bulgarelli, and he's an old friend of mine he's the only crew member who's not from Portland, actually.
All right.
And we've worked together on so many projects. And I asked him to come up and DP the film. He's actually, so he's from Costa Rica, but when he first came to the United States, he came to Portland. So for him, it was like a return to, you know, his roots. I think he spent maybe 3 years here when he first came to the States, and so he had like a love for the, you know, for the city. And
Right.
I told him I was, you know, doing a project here, and he just wanted to come out here. So it really worked out.
What kind of camera did you use?
Oh, we used the Red 1 camera.
Right.
Beautiful camera.
Right. Because I know Jason and Todd Freeman were executive producers. Was it their camera?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right. That's right. It was we used their camera.
You
They
get
were
to know people in the community after a while and what cameras they have. That's
exactly. Yeah. So it's, you know, beautiful image.
right.
It came out looking fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Oh, the trailer. We'll watch it in a few minutes, and
Yeah.
it was good. Who did the sound for you?
The sound was recorded by Brian.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Mazzi.
Brian. Yeah, I know Mazzoli.
Mazzoli.
Brian
Mazzola.
Mazzola.
Brian
Mazzola. We're getting out. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I've met Brian a few times. He
Yeah.
does a great job with the sound.
Yeah, he is a superstar. He
Right,
he was fantastic. And in fact, we are now doing our sound in post, you know, Foley and stuff.
Right.
And our sound guy in post is constantly praising Brian.
Yeah, it's good to have good sound in up front.
Absolutely.
It's better to improve
Yeah.
it in post than
Yeah.
fix it in post.
Yeah, and that gentleman, his name is Jason Wells.
Okay,
So
that's great.
He's doing all that stuff.
We're talking about the characters and stuff in the film. Tell us the name of a few of the actors. I like the audience to hear the actors' names. They like to hear their names. I know I do.
Yes, yeah. Well, the star is Sean McGrath.
Right, he does a great job.
Yeah, he's fantastic. This is actually his first starring role, first role as a lead
Right.
in the film.
Okay.
And he's fantastic. He's a local actor and comedian. In fact, he's got a show tomorrow where he directed. I think it's a sketch comedy.
Okay.
I forget the name. Sorry, Sean.
By the time this is on, it'll be over anyway.
Oh yeah. Then the voice of the whole is played by Denise Poirier. I think I'm pronouncing her name right, Denise.
Man, you got some names on this film, though.
Yeah.
'Cause yours and
Yeah. Denise was the voice of Eon Flux in MTV's Eon Flux.
Okay.
And
Wow, that was nice.
Yeah, her voice is just amazing. She's got an
Okay.
amazing voice. And should I mention some more actors?
Absolutely.
Ann Source plays the sort of the female lead. She's also fantastic. She does a lot of theater in town. And then Tabor Helton is also he's sort of like
Okay.
he's the artist's nemesis.
Okay. Is he the antagonist?
Yeah, he is the
Okay.
antagonist.
Okay.
Hmm.
Briefly describe the appeal you think your film will has on audiences and why.
Yeah. Well, it's a horror film, but it's also
But
very.
it's not real graphic horror-ish
No.
most of the time. It's more of a
It's kind of a psychological
it's-
horror.
yeah.
And it's also a very dark comedy. There's
Dark,
a lot
yeah.
of humor.
that's why it's called
deep dark.
deep dark.
Exactly.
It's deep and it is dark.
It is. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's adjectives. All about adjectives.
Okay, good.
But I think it would appeal to people who maybe don't like the real hardcore horror film, but maybe want to be scared or a little bit. I call it alternative horror.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. If you want a new story that's not a remake, it's not a
Well,
repeat. It's not.
I'm glad because everybody has their own genre, but the things that are really just blood and guts horror,
Yeah.
they bore me more than anything.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the, things where you wonder a little bit. Sometimes.
Exactly. So we have a little bit of blood and guts, but not.
No, I
not,
know. We saw it.
We sprinkled it on liberally to taste. We didn't like
It's
shoot
not
it on
grat-
with a
it's-
fire hose.
It's not gratuitous, right?
Right. Right.
That's
yeah.
good.
We have a low body count in Deep Dark. We have
Okay.
a high dismemberment count, I like to say, but body count is very low. People lose lots of limbs.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What are your film's strengths?
As a director, I think I think well, I'm a writer as well, and
Right.
so
We're going to get to that.
yeah. But as like a writer-director combination, you're able to change the script when you need to.
And they do change, don't they? Once you get on set.
We've
They
changed.
do
We
change.
changed it a few times. I was able to rewrite some of the scenes to cater to them to the locations we got.
You have to. The environment changes it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There you are.
And then also, I'm good at working with the visual. I'm visually oriented. So when it comes to composing shots or that kind of thing, that I think is one of my strengths. I certainly have plenty of weaknesses, but yeah, those are the few strong points.
Okay. Well, talking about strengths, what are Deep Dark's strengths?
I think the fact that it's an original story,
There you are.
I think is a good thing. People who are looking for something new will find that there, and just the fact that we try not to cater to any tropes. We try not to be we try not to do anything that has been done over and over before.
Okay.
So I would say that's another strength.
That's great. That's great.
Good acting, I think.
All right,
Good
well-
story.
Well, you're talking about the story being an original story. You wrote it. Where did the premise of it, where did the thoughts of this come from? It came from your brain somewhere. Was there anything in your past that influenced this? How did it come about?
there's a saying that all films are autobiographical, and I think.
Are you an artist at all?
Well, you know, and every filmmaker is an artist in a way.
Of course, yeah.
And I think it was me musing about art and where an artist gets his ideas or her ideas, and the fact that it could come from a hole in the wall, to me was just
That's kind
interesting.
of a cool
you know?
premise.
Yeah, and so I think that's probably where it came from. And there is a scene in the film that was sort of like the kernel that everything came from. I would say, and that's, you see some of it in the teaser where he's pulling a string out of a hole in the wall, and there's a note at the end of the string.
Right.
So that was kind of the kernel scene that the movie came
Gets
from.
a propel. Okay. We talked about the strengths. What are your film's weaknesses?
Well, I hate to talk about that, but
I'm glad you know what. But the thing is, you're showing us.
Yeah.
You're being open and vulnerable about it. That's good.
Yeah. You know, it's.
It means you're true to who you are and what you got going. I think that's wonderful that you can do it. A lot of people say, "Well, there isn't any," or don't want to talk about it.
No, the film's perfect. No, I think. Well, you know, we made it on a very low budget, and so there's always a struggle with that. You always make sacrifices when you don't have enough time to do things, you don't have enough money to do things. So
and it takes a long time to set up a shot and do them right.
Yeah. So I would have loved to had done more takes. There's a few scenes I think we cut out, maybe because we didn't quite have the budget to get it just right, you know. So, but I don't think the story suffers. I think it's kind of like a proving ground. You know, if the scene's good, it deserves to be in the movie. If it's not good, get it out.
If it doesn't move the story forward either, you got to take it out.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, so that's I would say those are some weaknesses.
Okay, well, there's a lot of films that have those weaknesses.
Yeah.
How does your film? How does Deep Dark primarily distinguish itself from other films that are in the same genre?
Well, I mean, the concept is a little different. So it's more of a concept horror film. You know, the fact it's a talking hole in the wall. Other horror films tend to just they just need to hit the buttons. You know, they need to have someone. You know, maybe it's like a slasher film and.
The guy jumps out of the closet, or that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, or it's a zombie film. There's like a whole genre of zombie films. I don't think this one has its own subgenre of a horror film. So, in that sense, it distinguishes.
Would it kind of freak you out like Sixth Sense does in that way?
Maybe, yeah. This one hits more on the funny bone.
Oh, really?
And it's disturbing and it's humorous. So, I don't think anyone's gonna get really, really scared or really,
fall out of their chair laughing or.
Yeah.
Maybe, well, hopefully they do.
Yeah. So we'll see. It's very dark humor comedy.
Talking about that just made me think. When will the film premiere? Or do you have any idea yet? I know it takes a long time to get everything, the sound and everything. How's that?
We are still finishing the film.
Okay.
It's going to be done in about a month or two.
Right.
We are probably going to go after festivals first. So there's a little bit of a time delay between
6 months, a year.
Yeah. So with any luck, it'll premiere early next year.
Early next year here in Portland.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, we may.
I know they usually delay it so they can hit the festivals and stuff, but so maybe early spring or late spring next year in Portland.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. Well,
we may have a secret showing. But before then, I don't know. We have to
secret showing, cast and crew, and families, friends,
and family and friends, of course. Yeah.
We're family now, bro.
Yeah. Fist bump. Okay.
How do you work with the actors? Do you do acting yourself at all?
I have acted. Usually, what happens is I get thrown into a film when someone needs an actor, and
they need the part filled, right?
And usually it's a small part. I love acting. I don't think it's really what I was meant to do.
Okay.
I've been told I'm okay at it. I could probably act my way out of a paper bag, but I'm not a good actor. I love working with actors because I admire what they do. I think it's very difficult. And
That said, how do you work with them?
yeah, well, I like to rehearse. That's
Good for you.
yeah, and that's something I learned on Deep Dark. The more you rehearse, the better the scenes are going to be.
You should rehearse way before.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and I knew that, but it was kind of like it became a proven time and again. Every scene we rehearsed just was ultimately so much better than the ones we did.
Okay, well,
you know,
right.
But when I work with actors, I don't take I try not to take an authoritative view on the scene. I think every actor's going to bring something else to the table that you, as a writer or as a director, hadn't thought of. So I try to keep it, an arena that that actors are comfortable to come up with new things, or hey,
to make mistakes and to grow from it and to move on.
Yeah,
That's great. Yeah.
Or even be like, hey,
it's
Michael, I want to try this. What do you think of
you
this?
Know what? You're so vulnerable as an actor.
Yeah.
Being allowed to make a mistake and actually learn from that, and actually the scene will be better afterwards, I feel.
Yeah.
Okay. In that sense, we're going to cut away to the trailer in a second, but I have to ask you, how do you work with the cinematographer? As a director, you got to work closely with them.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's another thing I really enjoy is working with the cinematographer. And since Francisco was a good friend,
Well, you probably, since you went to film school, you probably had to run a camera quite a bit yourself.
Yeah. But I nowadays I leave that to the
professional.
But we,
That's good.
Yeah. We do a lot of collaborating before the movie starts. We talk about the look. We talk about different types of shots. We talk about the lighting, and then when it comes to shooting, we would plan, either the week before or the day before, what the day would be like, and come up with a shot list.
You come up with a shot list, and great.
Oh, yeah.
No, it helps to do it quicker.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I don't know how you can survive without it. I did the 10-minute film in 4 hours one time because we had a shot list and we moved the camera 4 times.
Yeah.
It was editing. It was a little harder.
Yeah.
Although some people like to edit in the camera, I'm not that kind of a guy.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right now, we're going to cut away to a quick clip of Deep Dark. Enjoy it. We'll be right back. Thank you for letting us watch that, Michael. It was awesome seeing Sean McGrath. We actually saw the string coming through the wall, and yeah. So kind of gives a little bit of a idea of what the film is going to be like.
Yeah, just a little tease.
He actually did a great job being unstable.
Yes, he did a really good job. He's a comedian, and so for this, although I know he's played serious roles before. It was great to have someone who could also bring that to the table as well.
As a writer, how do you attack screenwriting? Do you, I always ask this question, the Blake Snyder approach, I don't really use that.
What's the Blake Snyder
Well, you put out all these cards and you have a list of how it goes. You have a beat
right,
1, beat 2, all the way down, save the cat.
Yeah.
I don't work that way.
Yeah, I tried the cards. The cards they're not kind to me.
You know what, I have to write the beginning, the end, and the middle, and then all of a sudden scenes come to me and I fill it in as it goes.
Yeah.
Some people say it's a longer process, but that's what works for me.
Yeah, yeah. I think every writer has a different
Right.
process they do it in.
Anyway, I interrupted. What is your process?
Well,
That is the question.
I have a hole in the wall that I just ask for the scenes.
It's the same one that you pull that string through?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Surprisingly, it was easy to come up with a script. No, I find writing usually kind of a painful process.
You're either at war with it,
Yeah.
or it's just flowing. And when it flows, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like characters start talking to you and all
Yeah.
these other things. Yeah.
And so I forgot where I read it, but I learned that you kind of just put the time in. Don't expect it to always be
Just
good.
Wake up every day and do it.
Yeah,
You just do it.
it's kind of silly, but you can liken it to going to the gym, if you go to the gym. But
I do. I love it.
you know, it's more about developing the writing muscles
Right.
and putting in the time. You will get good stuff out of
Right,
it.
okay.
You won't always get good stuff, but do it enough, and those scenes will come.
Since you like to write, what is your favorite screenplay?
You know, I think the stuff from the Coen brothers, if you
Right.
read their screenplays,
Right.
they're fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So those of the ones I've read are probably my favorite.
Yeah.
But
Did that influence Deep Dark?
yeah, actually,
Because it seems like it would, because
yeah.
their stuff is pretty dark itself.
yeah, and I think their film Barton Fink is probably
Barton
the
Fink.
most influential one of the as far as their repertoire.
Mm-hmm.
That I think that inspired the film a little bit.
Who's your favorite director? A-list director?
Yeah, you know, I have so many, but I'm gonna name a couple that I think are maybe not as well known right now, but I think are really fantastic. One of them is Jonathan Glazer, who I really love his stuff.
Can you name a film?
Yeah, he just did a film, Under the Skin,
Okay.
with Scarlett Johansson. But if you catch one of his earlier films called Birth, it's just, it's amazing.
Okay.
So he's great. I love the stuff P.T. Anderson's doing now.
Okay.
Some of the newer stuff he's doing.
Right. What is your favorite film?
That's a tough question. I don't know if I have a favorite, but
Name a couple that you like a lot.
well, back to the Coen brothers. No Country for Old Men is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I think their film Raising Arizona was like a inspiring film to me when I was young. To just like got me thinking about film in general.
Okay.
But The Fly, Cronenberg's The Fly was is a big fave of mine, only because it's a horror film, but the protagonist is the creature in that film,
Right.
and that's very similar to Deep Dark. The
Okay.
whole is a sympathetic character in the film. It's not an evil creature. It's you know it's not black and white. It's gray, you know.
Mm-hmm. Is there a common type of film genre that you're drawn to?
Well, horror films, of course.
Dark comedies too, right?
Dark comedies, but anything that where the world that it takes place in is not necessarily normal. Is usually that's what I like.
Kind of like Portland.
Exactly, and it was funny because I didn't move to Portland to make the film, but once I was in Portland, I was like, wow, this is the perfect place to make this film because it takes place in a sort of heightened reality. It's not quite the real world, but it's but it is realistic, and so it worked out. It was a kismet.
If you could be the assistant director for an A-list director,
Yeah.
one that's we know that we'll know. Who
You
would
know,
it
I
be?
think it would be those two I just
Okay.
mentioned. I just really like what they're doing, and I kind of would love to be a fly on the wall to see, what's inspiring them.
Okay.
So,
What A-list actor and or actress would you like to work with?
I think lately I'm really liking the stuff that Joaquin Phoenix is doing.
Okay.
It's just blowing me away.
He can do a great job. Like what was that movie? We talked the cell phone. I can't remember. He does a great job.
I remember in The Master.
But he actually, if you notice, he almost deformed his body in that
Yeah, he becomes another
character.
person. Yeah, which, I think that's very amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely.
Other actors tend to get cast more or less as themselves, and they They kind of play themselves and
Time and
happen
time
to
again.
be, but which is great. You know, they're you know they bring
wish
that.
we all could get into that gig.
Yeah.
once in a while.
Yeah, and that's great too. But someone I'd love to work with who I think maybe isn't considered a good actor is, but I think he's a great actor is Nicolas Cage.
Right.
I actually really love to work with the guy because I think he's done amazing work. It's very dependent on the director. That's what you'll see from him.
Right.
So I think like teamed up with a great director, he's going to do amazing stuff.
Okay.
With a not so good director or maybe a not so good script, he's not. So he's another person I would love to.
What A-list actress, since you told us the actors,
Yeah.
what A-list actress would you like to work with?
There's so many, but Nicole Kidman I think would be.
Yeah, she's amazing, right?
Super talented to work with.
She's taller than both of us, though.
Is she really?
We'd have to stand on an apple box. I don't know how she could have been married to Tom Cruise because he's.
We'll cast her as a role as a
We have to shoot it so that she's
paraplegic, and she'll be in a wheelchair.
Yeah, so I'm in the front, and she's in the back, so I look taller, right?
Even better. Yeah, yeah.
What do you consider the elements of a good film, and a great one?
I think first and foremost it's about telling a good story.
There you are.
That's always key. And then you know, it depends on the film, but good acting is also key as well. You know, it doesn't really matter the film if the acting is bad, the film is going to be bad. You know.
I think the director, though, a good director and a good camera can bring a subpar performance and make it better.
Yes.
And I think they can actually take a great performance and make it look worse.
Yes, absolutely.
They can.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, certainly that will destroy a story as well. Yeah. But I also find like if you don't have the special effects, if you don't have the budget, a good performance will always trump any of that.
Right. I think a lot of the films in Hollywood nowadays rely on special effects.
Yeah.
And I think that it should be more about character and story, and the special effects enhance that.
Yeah.
Instead of about the special effects. But you know what? A lot of people really like those, and they're the ones spending the money. So
yeah,
I get it.
Well, yeah. I guess that's what brings people these days want to go to theaters to see that stuff, or more likely to see. But if the performance is bad, the movie's gonna suck. You know, people wonder why the films are performing badly. It's because the performances are bad.
So where do you hope you see yourself in 5 years? We got to hurry up here.
I just love to direct another film. That's all. I'm not picky.
Okay.
Just wanna.
Are you writing one?
I have started, yeah.
Good
but haven't gotten too far yet. I've been mostly in post with this one.
Yeah. My next question was, what's next? And I hope you got another one in mind that you're working on while you get this one in post.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're kind of running out of time here. I want to thank Michael for coming here and talking about Deep Dark. I hope you like the trailer. You're gonna have a Facebook page or anything about that?
Yeah. Anyone who's interested in learning
If you want to get a hold of him, did you put up your Twitter and stuff? I think Ellery must have done it. He does it all the time. We just don't pay attention. He does a great job with that.
Yeah, if you'd like to learn more about the film, visit the website and you can sign up to our mailing list and you'll get
It does have its own website. I want to also, thanks Michael for being here. There it is. I want to thank Ellery Nelson, the director, and Christo. They do everything, setting us all up and helping us look good, and we really appreciate that. I want to thank my wife, Carol Poland, who's the executive producer. She does everything, and without her, we wouldn't be here. Anyway, until next time on Portland Film Beat, shoot for the silver screen.